Greetings and welcome back to the Renaissance First Part. What?
You can't be serious. I don't tell you I doing the intro. This is what I be talking about here. Is your inability to follow instructions is why the episode
Alright, alright.
It's so hard to find good help these
Okay.
days. Matter of
Alright.
fact, take all that shit too.
Cut.
Have you ever wondered how the long-term benefits of delayed gratification compares to the immediate reward of instant gratification? Or have you considered how delayed gratification influences your overall happiness and success in life? Is delayed gratification even worth the wait? Well, today, in this insightful video, I'll expose the detriments of expecting instant gratification by covering the 4 following points. Number 1, I'll examine the lie about overnight success and give some popular examples as well as some examples from the wonderful Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Number 2, I'll illustrate that there's no sidestepping the work by leveraging the 10,000 hour rule that was popularized by Malcolm Gladwell in his book Outliers, and also provide some backstory on the journey of Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft. Number 3, you never know the proximity to your next opportunity, so it's dangerous to not manage your expectations effectively because you may be a lot closer than you think. So giving up prematurely is the definition of self-sabotage. And number 4, we'll close it out with the importance of independent thinking, coupled with a few quotes and ideas from the famous Jim Rohn. Enjoy. Greetings and welcome back to the Renaissance First podcast for another stupendous episode. But before I go any further, I sincerely like to apologize for the episode being delayed. Let's just say life been happening, but move. I find some contentment in the fact that the episode is filled with an assortment of jewels for your mental safekeeping, so I think it was worth the wait. But as the old people say, a fisherman never say he fish stink yet, so I'll let you be the judge. As always, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today, and thank you again for gifting me with your time. I'm your host, Judas X, and I'm broadcasting to you live from the RFP headquarters right here in NYC. Whether you're a regular or this is your first time joining us, make yourself comfortable while we explore the detriments of expecting instant gratification, how intentional action fosters better execution, and how consistent execution creates more confidence in your ability to get things done. But you already know, I can't even think to start the episode before I remind you that here at the Renaissance First podcast, we aspire to inspire until we expire. Respect to Les Brown for providing us with the only slogan capable of encapsulating the very essence of this podcast. And since we know the distance between who you are today and who you want to be tomorrow is just information and experience, the main objective of this podcast is to provide the listeners with innovative tools and ideologies to make the self-actualization process much more seamless. The term self-actualization was coined by Abraham Maslow, an American psychologist. We covered this concept in episode 1. So if this is your first introduction to self-actualization and you need further context, definitely do go check out episode 1. The link is in the description below. I know it would be more convenient to get one of these pop-out bubbles. I can talk to the people in the editing department and air your grievances. So going forward, we could get a pop-out bubble so you don't have to scroll the description. So consider it done. Maslow defines self-actualization as becoming everything that you're capable of becoming. So basically, if you have the propensity to be a 10, don't settle for being a 5. Max your potential. We're only gonna get to do this life thing once, so why settle for being great when you can be phenomenal? The choice is yours. This is the 4th installment of the Universal Life Principles series. Quickly going back to the RFP Pyramid of Principles, which is a visual representation of the 5 principles that guide both myself and this podcast. The 5 principles, starting from the base of the structure, is preparation, execution, resilience, excellence, and osmosis. We're about to close out the execution principle today, but sometimes you have to go backward in order to come forward. So I wanted to quickly highlight some key reference points mentioned in previous episodes before we dive into today's episode. The execution principle states that a brilliant idea that lacks action is a wasted thought. A belief is a deeply held assumption that we create about who we are, how the world works, what we deserve, and what we think we're capable of accomplishing, and as a result, our beliefs dictate our action. You are solely responsible for your beliefs, and it's important to remember that beliefs help to shape your perception, which ultimately constructs your reality. So it's dangerous to be out here operating on false beliefs because that leads to existing in a false sense of reality. And these false beliefs are the foundation on which self-limiting beliefs are built. Or you might find yourself thinking, people against you, whole time is your beliefs beating your back. Because as we know, self-limiting beliefs prevent you from taking action necessary to take your life to the next level. So now that we got your reference points right, we could dive into today's knowledge. When you hear the word execution, who or what comes to mind? What does execution mean to you? When you think about about execution as a concept, who do you visualize? MJ, Jordan, or Jackson? Two impeccable MJs. I would hate to have to choose, to be honest. You could be into football, or maybe you call it soccer, but we call it football. So you're thinking Cristiano Ronaldo, because that's a man you know that knows how to execute. Or you could be thinking black excellence. So you're thinking Martin Luther King Jr., or maybe a bit more like me, you're thinking Malcolm X. Because me, I personally believe in by any means necessary. Last one, I promise. I cannot throw a tennis example in there. Maybe you're thinking Pete Sampras, or yourself, or maybe even your parents. But regardless of what you think about, I'll give you the definition for execution. I personally like to use definitions because you ever been in a situation where someone asks you the definition for a word and you end up using the word in the definition? Yeah, I know that kind of way too. Execution is defined as the act of completing, carrying out, or performing a task successfully, or you can consider it to be putting into effect a plan, order, or course of action in a successful manner. I actually Googled some examples of execution and they started talking about gas chambers, hangings, and firing squads, which had me a bit confused for a minute. But execution also means to put to death, especially as a legal penalty. Definitely not what we're covering today, unless we're talking in a metaphorical sense about what you're going to do to your goals this year. But I just want to make sure that you have the full context.